Welcome, everybody. This is Denny with Why Is This True? And Karl and I are going to do another channeling session today. And we're going to do, I believe it's the fourth viewer questions for Creator. So thank you for joining me again, Karl. And we've got, I think it's 10 questions today. So it's potentially could be a long one. So I'll let you, I want to welcome you and invite you to tell people what we're going to be up to today. And some of the things that we typically talk about at the beginning of these interviews for people who haven't seen some of our previous ones.
Thank you, Denny. Thank you for having me. And I'll do my best to bring this forth and help the cause.
Okay. All right. So why don't you just give a little brief introduction what we're going to do, so people who haven't seen our videos before know what they're going to be seeing here.
Yes, certainly. I am a healing facilitator. I'm also a psychic medium and channeler. And one of the things I've been doing for this series is to do channeling with Creator of all that is. This provides a way to go to that ultimate source of divinity. And this is not a common thing, and it is special. And it's being allowed for special reasons and for special purposes. We're in a kind of test of us right now, and this has been going on for many thousands of years, to see how we do, to see if we can learn how to deal with and overcome negativity. And we need to understand the rules of the road, the rules of engagement with the divine. So in bringing forth Creator, there will be certain limits to what can happen, what can be said, what can be shared. Creator makes the rules. I don't. I know from past experience the Creator will only do so much, because most things need to be left to us to manage and to take care of, to be the change agents, sort of the boots on the ground, if you will. But we can get assistance and support. So much in the same way you can reach out through prayer, we're reaching out with questions and wanting to get information and guidance. You can request that for yourself personally. That's what prayer has always been designed to do. You may not hear the voice of God come to you, but you will be given answers. Things will happen, and it will start to influence your life in various ways. It may be answered days, weeks, months, years later, but you will get an answer. Something will happen as a result of your outreach. So viewers have asked about various things, and one thing I did want to comment on specifically is that most things going on are imperfect. Most are misguided and an arm of some kind of disinformation campaign. And I can't be any plainer and straighter than that. That includes most channelers, as well as lots of spiritual groups and spiritual leaders promoting various strategies to foster human development and enlightenment. Most of them are designed to keep people complacent, keep them rounded up in a little group to do something that's benign. It can't hurt, but it's not going to change humanity and its deep problems. So I don't want to go after those folks. I mean, these are all sincere people. And I know this is true. And they're just being manipulated. And so I don't want to point fingers and name names. If you watch this series, you will learn the clues you need to know to help discriminate among the differing voices out there. Are they just talking about sweetness and light? All you need is love. We just need to come together and use love. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. And this is a love-based universe. And that's how Creator operates. And that's where we get it from. The very impulse to be drawn to love and want to feel it and express it comes from the divine, because that's who Creator is. But our love power may not be enough to solve the deepest problems in society. because we're up against an opposition that is disconnected from the divine. They are loveless beings. They don't react to love. They have no compassion. They have no ability to feel love themselves. They can stimulate it in us because they're crafty and they're capable, but it's a ruse and it's a kind of a game for them. And so they're not going to be swayed by us coming together with love feelings and love vibrations and so on. So it's all well and good, but it's not the answer for dealing with an extraterrestrial cabal. And that's what we're dealing with. There's an extraterrestrial alliance aided and abetted by dark spirits who attach to people and influence and corrupt them. They laugh at this. They don't relate to it. So those things aren't part of the answer. They're useful things to do. If it makes you feel good, nothing wrong with it. And many things are done in the name of love that are beneficial. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about worldwide government overlay of corrupt beings who are cynical and self-serving and do not have human interest at heart. They don't respond to a love outreach or a love message. They will not. They will respond to divine intervention. And that's where we need to be looking. And that's why I'm saying what I'm saying, because I've been told this, and I believe it to be so. So the signs to look for are they promoting a savior, some external, outside saving grace that will swoop in and help us, like benevolent extraterrestrials? It's a nice idea, and it has its curb appeal. We need another Messiah. Everyone would say, yeah, sure, bring it on. But that's not Creator's plan, I am told. We're supposed to do this. You and I. The benevolent ETs are not going to come here. They're in a higher dimension. They're not going to come down into the lower physical plane. That's not the plan. And I can tell you there are not ETs out there who are highly evolved beings that we can appeal to. The benevolent ETs that are still spiritual are on the sidelines watching, as is Creator. They're not allowed to come in and throw the game for us. That would defeat the purpose. This is a test for us. We're under a severe test of our resolve and our willingness and creativity needed to return to first principles and realign with the divine realm. We were doing it in the beginning. We've been dissuaded through corruption, disinformation, darkening of the religions, on and on and on, to make us doubt and lose our interest in those approaches. But we've thrown the baby out with the bathwater here by giving up on God. That is our undoing. And we can go back to it. It's still time. There's still time left to go back to God. But we need to do it, each and every person, with a deliberate outreach to vote for that. So look at what we do and use that as a point of comparison, and look at what others are saying and what they're proposing, and see if it's going to have the answers that we need, or it's another feel-good exercise.
Right. Can I interject something?
Feel-good exercises, and it's not going to be enough on its own. Yes.
Right. Yeah. And the other thing, not only do we have 3 previous viewer questions for Creator that you can go back and watch, because I am getting questions from people now for our future series where the questions have already been answered. So they maybe only they saw the second episode or the second video we did where we did viewer questions for Creator. But if you watch them all, we did answer a lot of questions. Some of the questions I think we should go back to and rephrase maybe or present them in a different context. But, if all goes well, we'll have an opportunity to do that. But what I'm trying to do now here is introduce fresh questions that we haven't asked before. So that's what this is about. And the other thing I wanted to point out is that the interviews that we're doing with the various subjects are light beings. These are people who successfully transitioned after their death, and they have a completely new perspective now, which is in alignment with Creator and the divine realm. So they are also answering questions about these kinds of things that you're bringing up, about information that's coming in, the beneficial ETs, the new technologies, the psychic contacts that's going to be happening with these scientists and this kind of thing, so that humanity can have a great and wondrous new life on the planet. Like the planet's waking up, and we're going to have these new technologies that come in and make our life easier. This is very compelling. It's drawn in a lot of people from the lightworker community for the reasons that you just stated. But these are some of the warning signs of maybe a misdirections happening here. And Karl understands. I'll speak. Take a liberty here and speak for both of us, in that we know that there's a lot of people that are going to look at this and they're just going to turn it off. It's not something that aligns with their experience and what they believe and what they've read. And there's tons of material out there and things on the internet right now that are diametrically opposed to what we're saying right here. So we understand that. But, hopefully, if people continue to ask the hard questions and look for the answers, they'll come back and realize that, maybe this deserves a second look. Maybe they should reconsider maybe some of the information that's coming forth on that. And we'll try to do it like in a polite and respectful way. As you mentioned, we're not here to throw people under the bus or name names or call people out or get into debates or arguments. This is just about the information that we're receiving from a source that has, over time, I believe, proven itself to be very reliable. And again, I'm going to make one more point, and then I'll turn it back over to you. Is that go ahead and consider what's being said, but also consider what's happening to people that are coming into this circle of influence, if you will, people who have received healings from Karl and are willing to go public about it. We have these people. These people are out there. You can go to teamarchangel.com, read some of the testimonials. And so what I'm inviting people to do is judge this based on its fruits. What's happening to the people that are interacting with this information? What's happening in their lives? Are their lives better? Are things improving for them? Do they have better understanding of what's happening to them? And in particular, I would be referring, for my viewers, would be people involved in the SSP, in the Secret Space Program, these people that are regaining their memories and they have questions. And Karl's helping them to get answers. So this has been a very healing experience for many of them and very transformative. So that might be another thing that you can look as a basis for discernment. So thank you, Karl.
Yeah, well, thank you for adding to the discussion. It's been very eye-opening for me to have to reconcile all the bizarre things going on in the world with a completely new paradigm. I would never have believed this was possible. And all those science fiction movies about alien conquest and so on, those are pretentious. They have a meaning because this is the reality that we are part of right now. And the thing I would say to people is just to comment on what you brought forth about the technology being so compelling and so attractive. Having advanced technology is not saying that people have an advanced spiritual understanding or a spiritual basis in how they view life and the world or the greater universe. And the opposite is the case for the beings who are here in the physical. They have advanced technological capabilities, no question about that. But they are worse off spiritually than we are. They are more corrupted. And that leaves them in an empty void in terms of morality. The technological sophistication is no comfort if you're living in a loveless existence. And in fact, the future that's envisioned for the divine human, is to be in a higher dimensional existence where technology has no place, has no purpose or meaning, because everything will be done with the power of thought. You'll be creating your things with your own consciousness. You don't need robots to do it for you. You can create things on the fly. You can multi-locate, and there's no end to your reach. You can reach the farthest corners of existence and other dimensions as well when you're functioning on that level. You don't need spaceships. You don't need weapons because there's no killing. It's known and understood. We're not here to harm or take away anything from anyone. And there's no lack for anything because all have energy they need and the wherewithal to create anything desired. So the beings that we're bumping into who fly around in our skies, who abduct people and manipulate them and so on, these are lower level beings, spiritually speaking, than us. They're corrupted by dark spirit influences, as most of us are. But it hasn't happened to us long enough to completely drag us down. That's the path these ETs are on. So if you look to them for answers, you will be disappointed. They might dangle a nice technological trinket in front of you. This is what they did to our military back in the day and got them involved. And what has happened is there's not some great partnership that's going to be disclosed and come forth showing the benefit of all of that cooperation now that we're grown up enough to understand and accept that without getting too upset emotionally with the stock market crashing and this sort of thing. What's going to come forward is lies, a series of lies about its benefit. And the reality has been they're not getting us prepared for a great new coexistence and a sharing of technology. The reality has been they're taking humans by the thousands and training them to be a mercenary army. They have a force of over 1 million human beings that are trained to kill on command with no second thought, no reservation, just following orders because of mind control manipulation. There are millions more who've washed out of that program because they're spiritually incorruptible and they're not able to get them to be that compliant. But the memories are wiped. So I work with these people and I see the huge trauma in them from things that they've been subjected to attempt to get them into that killing mode. It is not humane, and it is diabolical. These are the beings with the technology. So be careful what you wish for.
Okay. All right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to get started, and we'll go with the 10 questions for creator. Thank you, Karl.
Yes. This is Source Creator speaking.
Thank you. This first question is from our friend Gifford. Why does the ET Alliance, Annunaki, Nordics, and Reptilians want our planet for themselves so badly and or to eliminate humanity?
There are many reasons on many levels, and like humans themselves, there is a mix of viewpoints, a mix of desires, and a mix of intentions. In the end, what will matter is solely the desires of the leadership, as these are authoritarian regimes who are under lockstep oversight and control by a long-standing hierarchy that keeps things in alignment and working for them. So the investment here has been tremendous, certainly from your perspective, having been involved in Earth Plane for tens of thousands of years by all parties, still present. With that kind of investment in using, exploiting, manipulating humanity for various purposes, the natural desire is to get all they can. So they have a long-standing presence and interest in tinkering with human, exploiting, manipulating, and taking away things of value. This began with natural resources and mining operations hundreds of thousands of years in the past, and using humans as slave beings for that purpose. The more recent manipulations have been involved with having playthings and having a way to exert their power and have beings who are truly expendable to manipulate and subjugate and to punish for their own gratification. This is a form of depravity that is very much like some authoritarian regimes in the human realm who preyed on others they felt were weaker or less deserving and drew a kind of enjoyment from the subjugation and witnessing the suffering. There are beings who use you as food. There are beings who use you as instruments to confound and confuse other humans and take delight in orchestrating all these schemes of subterfuge to drag things down to lower levels of efficiency and progress. They ultimately are serving as well their own minions, the alien gray beings, who have studied human genetics for tens of thousands of years as a kind of laboratory project seeking to improve their own genome. And so humanity has served as a pool of unwitting guinea pigs for that enterprise as well. So they have some interest at the moment to keep humanity going, but they are tiring of this game. It is costing them greatly in terms of energy and the complications that are growing as the divine realm continues with the shift in consciousness to make humans who escape their grip. This is a back and forth contest and a kind of tug of war playing out. The extraterrestrials differ in the extent to which they retain an appetite for these games. Some are ready to disengage, but are part of an agreement and an alliance to support their fellows. Others want this to be over with and desire the direct annihilation of all humans. Others still want to preserve at least a core mass of humans to be sure the research has reached a sufficient level. But already humans are being eliminated and also replaced by extraterrestrial imposters and implanted beings who are substituted for human fetuses and are born to human families and raised as their own. Despite the fact the genome is extraterrestrial, in this way they can displace humans altogether down the line given enough time. So the handwriting is on the wall currently that they may well shift their perspective, and then the consequences will become more severe than tinkering with you around the edges to keep humans running in circles and fighting among one another, as has happened all through history. We cannot tell you ourselves how this will turn out, as it is up to you. We are waiting to see what you choose. Do you choose to do nothing? Do you choose to resist actively? Do you choose to bring in a divine partner who does have capability to make a difference without bloodshed? Those are three basic choices. And most people are in the first camp through complacency, mind manipulation, and subjugation, and states of ignorance, all conspiring to keep people looking elsewhere and unable to engage even with the idea of an extraterrestrial presence, much less there is anything at stake for them. So the destiny of human is still in your hands and has been in your hands all along. We have helped to support you, for you are actually an extension of the Creator. And this is why our interest is so keen, and we view you with great importance. This is our desire to have the divine human thrive and expand in all ways. But the test is, can you handle adversity and the encroachment and corruption to appeal to ego and to selfish desires for power? If you fail that test, then the experiment will end. Your souls will live on, but you will not have your world to live in any longer. You will be doing other things and will have missed a tremendous opportunity for a glorious new future.
Thank you. Can you expound on the idea of freedom and the fear of death?
Freedom is what you make of it, totally. In your world, human is king and decides the limits of freedom. We set the universe in motion to have certain laws, and within those so-called laws of physics lie the parameters you can work within to manipulate energy and to create through your consciousness. We support you as independent creators, and the limits come from those around you who are on a lower level, who seek to corrupt and constrain you. The freedom is often an illusion, because no human alive today is a free agent. All are constrained, all are limited by the limitations of those around them, the very laws you create, the restrictions on movement, the rules and complexities involved with movement, with national access and citizenship, and on, are all interwoven with multiple agendas, some above board and visible, and many that are hidden and enforced surreptitiously through dark means. So the idea of freedom is a very indeterminate concept and will depend heavily on what you do with that freedom from moment to moment. You are in charge. You always have been in charge, and you always will be in the human plane on your planet. It belongs to you. It was designed for you, and it is supported for your benefit. If others take it away, it is because you let them do so. You have choices before you. And so that is a freedom you still enjoy. It is very precious and is not to be taken lightly. The implications are quite dramatic and quite serious. You have a glorious future or you have annihilation. You will choose one of these. It may be quick or slow on either side of the equation, but those are the two potential outcomes. So the destiny of humanity is totally up to you.
Can you also expound on the fear of death?
Death is merely a transition. There is no death for a human because you are an extension of a soul that is a form of consciousness that persists. It takes on many forms and has a variety of potential expressions, all undergoing at once. The human being you feel is you is but a small extension of your soul, which is a vast consciousness and an entity in its own right. It is in another dimension, but it links to you and informs you with its composition and a set of potentials that govern who you are from time to time, moment to moment, with an array of choices that come your way, and how you respond will be reflecting the soul composition that is the uniqueness that it represents. Each immortal being has a soul composite that is unique to them. This was Creator's plan, not to have a series of clones virtually identical and therefore predictable, and also somewhat limited in variety of expression. The plan was to have the maximum possible array of soul compositions to create variety and richness and a quite wide landscape of possibility. So when you leave here with physical death of the body, you return to a higher state of being as a wider soul extension. This you call light being, but it is still a part of the soul being expressed and coalescing in a functioning unit that has a role to play and has many, many options available to come and go and express itself and to interact with many other soul extensions in like fashion. Death is a kind of liberation, and if you knew entirely the implications of this, which do extend beyond your understanding and imaginings, you would view each death with great, great celebration. The course of things is truly inverted. The birth is a stepping down. Coming to earth plane is a tremendous challenge of great difficulty and entails much suffering in almost every case. That is because of the nature of the ongoing tug of war, not the way it was designed to be in its ideal manifestation. So birth is a setback, death is a liberation. And we say this not to encourage its hastening. You have useful things to do here and important things to do. You did come with a plan and an agenda and have obligations to your soul itself to see to these and to not short circuit this learning and growth process. All of the adversity, all of the suffering serves you enormously in ways you do not yet understand, but are part of the expansion. You cannot be an expanded being and not understand the opposites that go along with everything in creation. The entire universe is created to be a balanced system. Every new undertaking causes some imbalance. It can move in a positive way or in a negative way, but always must be compensated for, and that will have consequences. So everything you do affects everything else, and this will go on forever. So you need never fear death. There is no death for you. You are immortal. You cannot be killed. You cannot be suppressed. You cannot be eliminated in any sense, in any way. Your human body is fragile. Your soul is not. So you are at risk of losing your human expression. But you are always the extension of Creator and Creator's consciousness. That will always be so. And we can promise you that we treasure you. All are loved without exception, and all are understood in a much deeper way than you can, seeing but a snapshot about yourself and its long heritage, let alone those around you, where they come from and who they truly are and what their potential holds.
Okay, thank you. When a message is given that does not align with the light, what is it that we are being asked to accept?
There are many ways of teaching. If you only hear about love, you will not be ready to face what happens when love is not around or in evidence. In the universe, there is the duality of things. In the law of opposites, that everything has a counterposing force. And this is how balance is maintained. There is always a push for every pull. So there is an up for a down. There is a left for a right. And there is a good for a bad. And on and on. And so the way things are governed will be the orchestration of what happens through these energies in all ways. So what takes place as you come forth is you are given a set of potentials, and this is governed by your history and everything you learned up to the point of your incarnation. And then you're launched forth as a free agent in the world. And all of that knowledge can only affect you indirectly because of memory suppression. This was done to you not by us, but by the very interlopers who you struggle with continually. They are the ones who deny you your deep memory of your heritage and your ability to connect with divine realm is similarly corrupted. That is keeping you in a kind of state of limbo, even while alive. This is up to you to fix, and we can assist you with this as well. But you need to ask for this to have it happen.
Okay, thank you. This is also from Karen. Have some practices that could be beneficial, such as meditation, been deliberately made difficult through DNA or mind control manipulation to cause humanity to feel that they cannot be successful in applying these methods?
There is tremendous disinformation about all things metaphysical. This is deliberate. You are being denied the deepest of truths in service to the cabal. They wish you to think all you need to do is close your eyes and relax and say a mantra over and over and over and over and over, and then something useful will emerge from this. To deny thought has value. To only focus on a positive outcome, to the elimination of any other thought or consideration. If you think more deeply about this, where will come the answer to problems? If you're only focused on a healthy, happy, functioning body and life, how will you get from here to there? If you believe in magic, and magic is real, it can happen. We are here to tell you that there is no magic per se. There is only the laws of the universe. And in a physical realm, there needs to be physical engagement and physical manipulation in order for those things to come into being that are the most possible. Through application of consciousness, the entire world can change. But no living human has the level of power within their consciousness as a human expression to transform the world instantaneously. That cannot exist within the human form. It is too imperfect a vessel. So the metaphysical approaches are all sound and have value up to a point. There is benefit in relaxation, to shut out the mind chatter and the causes of stress, and to enjoy the benefits of relaxation, to have a hormonal reset, to bring the body back into a state of calm and a peacefulness that is health promoting. There are benefits to this, but to get serious answers to serious problems, will require divine inspiration and an engagement with the collective unconscious as well, and a connection with higher guidance at multiple levels. Those light beings assigned to you to shepherd you along, to keep you protected, and to provide healing and a gateway to all that is in the form of the higher self, all play a role in bringing information and knowledge forth. If you meditate but do not talk to Creator, you are sitting in a void. And I would pose the question, what value comes from sitting in a void? Will the answer to your prayers come from sitting in a void? Will the next solution to a human dilemma come from sitting in a void? Or will it come from having a dialogue with a higher source of knowledge and wisdom? So you do reach out instinctively to the collective unconscious. You reach out instinctively to your guidance because you have been designed to do so. The interlopers have corrupted these gateways. They have restricted your reach to higher self, to the divine levels beyond. They have restricted your reach to the deepest levels of your mind, wherein the deeper awareness of your history and its heritage reside. And that part of the mind is always in turmoil because it sees all the carnage you yourselves consciously are unaware of. You think your life has started fresh and you came in as a shiny new soul and your learning is what you recall. This is not the case. You have learned many, many lessons, and you have learned many, many corrupt messages and drawn many, many false conclusions from the pain and suffering to which you have been subjected. You have been trained to blame other humans, but never to see you were drawn into the folly of war by an outside controller setting up conditions for war and leading you like sheep to sign on in service to the flag and so on, all of which is busy work for the extraterrestrials and the dark spirits who prey on both human and extraterrestrials. It is sport for them. They greatly enjoy when people squirm. It is who they are. It is a level of depravity at the very greatest extremes. When you see a human committing atrocities, it is only because their dark influences have made them do this. It is showing its hand, the dark influence, when this occurs. So the signs are there to illuminate the very workings of things. And so we would propose that you engage with this a bit and try it for yourself. If you meditate, try reaching out to Creator and ask Creator to show you something. Ask to feel something new, be shown something new, to be given a sign that the divine realm is real, to help you solve a problem you face, or finally make a choice that might be unpleasant no matter what you do, but you need to act. You will get a response if you believe, and if you believe you are worthy. Most people at this point neither believe in the divine any longer sufficiently for us to have a dialogue, nor do they believe they themselves are worthy of a divine intervention on their behalf. This is how badly things have gotten with the outside interlopers dragging everyone down. So we do not mean to totally discourage you here. We are simply explaining that this may not be quite as simple as it seems on its face. Many are not equipped any longer to receive divine help. This is why those who still stand strong and feel their spirituality within, who believe in a loving God and that God has a plan for them and will help them if they ask, are the only ones who can bring about change. We do not wish to discard anyone or reject anyone. You do this yourselves. You got yourself into this by believing the false stories, believing the disinformation, turning away from first religion, but then all other ways of connecting and communicating with the divine realm. If you go back to that and cultivate that connection, then your metaphysical pursuits will be empowered. Your reach will be greater than ever, and you will accomplish great things in all you do, because you are truly reconnecting to the power center you belong with. This is a choice for you, and it is real.
Okay, thank you. This is from a person who identifies himself or herself as be content. Is our higher self the highest evolved aspect of our soul, assuming other aspects exist in higher dimensions?
The higher self is above human in its reach and capability. It is a bona fide member of the divine realm. And so it has tremendous capability to obtain information and knowledge, to interact with and communicate with other beings, including Creator, and to have an impact on the person in the physical they connect with, because they govern the very life force energy flowing into the person to maintain their presence within the physical body. That will determine overall health and well-being in a major way. They are the source of all healing that comes from the divine realm, because it is filtered through them for permission and for implementation. This is to honor the independence, the true independence of each divine human. That is why we call you divine, because you, in that sense at least, have a divine integrity and independence as we enjoy. The higher self is yet still a minor aspect of your soul itself. It is called higher self in comparison to your level of perception and understanding that you enjoy as a conscious physical human in existence, but beyond the higher self, at the soul level, you have a vast greatness far beyond what the higher self can do. So this, in addition, is that you are in this chain of lowered capability beyond which is creator. And the soul of your being is an extension of us directly. So this is why we call you divine human. You are connected to us. You are a part of us. You are a literal part of us. You are not something we just created and set loose. You are literally a part of our consciousness, on the march, expressing an independence of your own choosing. Believe us when we tell you, you are on your own and you are making decisions every day with complete autonomy. That is the divine human experiment to see what will happen. So those are the players and those are the level of operation. But this is all divine consciousness flowing from place to place and ultimately animating you in a physical body that is only temporary, but is not who you are. It is only a container.